Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. A big one. From Image Comics, we're going to be talking about Hexware, issue number 3, written by Tim Seeley, art by Zulema, Scotto, Lavina, and then we got colors by Valentina, Cuomo, and letters by Maurizio, Clausi. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. It's no form of disrespect, just how I'm reading them and trying to pronounce them. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. And that's what I'm looking for, is the interaction about these comics. That's why I review individual comics. So anyways, if you are not caught up on Hexware, which you should be because it's a fantastic read. Oh, and by the way, the cover is done by DCWJ. If you're interested, it is a fantastic cover. But we are talking about a Witchware, which is an android that has like the potential for magic in this world. But at the very beginning of the book, we had a little girl that died, and her soul got put into this android, and now she resides in this android. Her name being Jess. I'm just going to call her Jess. I'm bad with names. I've stated that. But there's one other person that knows that she is stuck inside this body, and that's kind of like her conscience. Ren Romero is a little boy. This book does share a lot of similarities with Pinocchio, but it is not Pinocchio. It's not a copy or anything like that. It's its own brand new thing. There are plot points, and like at the end of this book, I would say, you know, it's that kind of happened in Pinocchio the same way, which is great. Like I said, it's its own thing. So the Witchware, Jess actually lives at home with her real parents, but she is in the android body. These couple of pages are just showing like what she goes through on a routine basis. Her dad's kind of acting real weird. He's locking himself up in this room, saying that he's having conferences with his boss and stuff like that, but really he's just kind of looking at pictures of him, his wife, and then his daughter who recently died. You can see from the wife that she is not coping so well. She really needs her husband there for him, for her. And they're just not doing so well. It's really one of those times when both parents should be coming together to help each other through this hard time, losing a child. And they're doing themselves, but they're kind of doing them in different directions. But we're kind of seeing, Jess's reactions to, while she's in the Witchware, and then when she actually takes over, because it is like two entities. Like she kind of goes to sleep, and then that's when the Witchware takes over. And then she, when she puts on the witch's costume, that's the Jessiper. It's the next night. We have already, at this time, since it is the third issue, she has a task to keep her soul in this body. She was tasked on tracking down like demons that had escaped hell. She has already captured and successfully done one, and ran into the second one that was King Lyca. And he ended up escaping. So now we're on the third night, and she is ready to go out on the mission. As she goes out, she ends up meeting Ren Romero right here, he's talking to this elderly lady that lives in the building with him, Senora Stallberg. I will say in this issue there's a lot more Spanish than the other first two issues, which I thought it was pretty dope. It's not a lot of Spanish, but it's a couple words here and there, so you might have to look them up if you really want to know what they're saying, because there's a couple key words they use, like instead of saying demons, they say the Spanish word, which I thought was very cool. There is another unique thing in this book. We have these ambassador androids that kind of show up. That's what her dad is doing. I think he's like programming these androids before they go mass market develop. I don't know. But now we have them like out in the public, and they kind of have the same like mentality as rich folks do, like the stereotypes and stuff like that. They see Jess and Ren, walking together, and they assume because he is a poor individual that he must have stole this witchware. They actually confront them and ask her if she's, out on her own volition, and she does. She's like, yeah, leave us alone. And I thought that was kind of unique that they had that the robots are all like stereotyped, like rich, wealthy people. In the first book, they kind of tell us, they haven't really shown us, but it's kind of set up like Coruscant or like this mega city, and the mega city kind of goes up, but it's not really like wide. So there's different levels to the city, and I think where Jess and our parents live, or maybe like a little above middle class, where Ren and most of the people that we run into the book, they're in the lower levels. Right now we're going to like what they would consider the basement, where at this time was like the regular subways and stuff, and they've shown that the subways were shut down by the rich people, so to hurt the poor and stuff like that. But eventually the poor people have learned, they kept using the tracks regardless. They just put cars on the tracks instead of like a subway. But it does act still kind of like a subway or a taxi, because the ride gets here and Ren gives them money and tells them, hey, we want to go to this location. They're like, all right, let's go, and they take off. The book wastes no time, and I mean, it's literally like a page and bam, we're already at the next time, and we get to meet him and his fool. He is I'm drawing a blank at his name. I got like several different, and most of them do have different names, but I want to say his friends call him Ogre, but I want to say the name that I picked up was Ebb of Life. I think that's what he tells like regular people and that kind of stuff. But kind of like where we meet him here, he's kind of in the middle of like a performance or something like that, excuse me. As you can see, like people are kind of, he's kind of doing like I want to say kind of like a religious spiel type of thing, but it's the opposite, It's all about, greed and sloth, that type of thing. The people up high have all this stuff, never have to take anything, for granted kind of thing. Which is really weird, because then he turns to the crowd and he's like, hey, you can give me all your wealth and stuff, and I'll heal you of all that. Eventually we see Mrs. Stallberg, the old lady that Ren was talking to earlier, has actually showed up at the same place. Ren's kind of weirded out on how she got here, so quickly from where they first met her, especially since they took like the tunnel cabs or whatever. But eventually Miss Stallberg does agree to, give up what she has and receive these blessings that the ogre is saying he's gonna, give her. He goes to touch her, and then, like you can see, he kind of catches on fire and stuff. It's supposed to do something else, but it starts hurting the ogre guy, and that's where our girl Jess shows up, and she goes on the attack. She has these fiery footprints that lead her to the next like kill or whatever, the demon that she's supposed to track down, and the footprints are leading to the ogre, so that's why she's instantly like, okay, I need to get to work kind of thing. She is reminded by Ren not to lose 100% control, because when she does, she doesn't remember like Ren or the the real objectives kind of thing. She agrees to do so, and then starts fighting the ogre. At first it seems like she does have the upper hand, but we quickly find out that one of his special powers actually works with the soul, and if you have a soul, he's able to like feed off of it. As soon as he figures out that she is an android with a soul in her, that's exactly what he starts doing, is he starts like literally like leeching like her soul energy out of her. There is a back and forth before this happens, and at one moment, we see that Jennifer, she tries to go like full, she has this like the heat magic, as you can see here. The book kind of jumps sideways, because we see what Ren is doing, and he's over there saving Mrs. Stallberg. And we find out why she agreed to do what she was going to do. She kind of knew that it was going to kill her kind of thing. And she just states that she is so old that she was there before the earth fell. And this is kind of like a post-apocalyptic, like, because there is moments when Rand has told us what, you know, his family went through when the oceans came and dried up and all kind of stuff. But this is the end of the world type stuff. But this lady basically explains that she was alive back then, and she was one of those rich, wealthy people that, you know, just threw stuff away for no reason and used up all kind of stuff, and now she literally feels guilty, especially being friends with this little kid. Kind of states that you know, she took that all away from, you know, future children type of thing. Rand kind of states that he doesn't go for all that, and he tells us kind of his backstory, and like I was just mentioning about what happened to his parents, and basically like the buildings falling, this massive like tidal wave coming in, and his mom and dad got swept away. He was left, his father was a musician, and his father was left, he left him with a tape of an unrecorded song, or unreleased song I should say, and now that's like the last thing that Ren has of his father. And that's what, you know, and he kind of says that, you know, he prefers music that way. It was played by a hand. It was, you know, came from a heart, a soul. It's not like the computer stuff that they have currently in this world. He plays it for Mrs. Stallberg, who we see in this moment actually passes away while she listens to it. And we see that the last thing that Ren says is, you know, that his father had that music, had that song for everybody to hear. And at least Ren can share it. He might not have the music in his heart, but, you know, he can still spread it around the world kind of thing. Like I mentioned, she was going full fire mode. And this is kind of when Ogre figures out that she has, you know, she's not just a machine, because she starts using full-blown magic, and he realizes that she has a soul. This is really when, like, he just clamps on her, as you can see, and he starts absorbing her soul. He even mentions that because of the way that she was when she was alive, and he shows her, you know, in her Jesper in her hell, and it's that cold, shivery, icy, cold hell. And he says people that end up in that hell, their souls are a lot more tastier, kind of thing. Before she is, you know, he can complete what he's trying to do, King Lycan actually jumps in and smashes Ogre in the back of the head, knocks him down. Jess is free. We see this lady come in, and her name is Aisha, or Invictus is like her bad guy name. And as you can see, she is like half a body, and she has like, she can like remove the top half, or I don't know, it's kind of weird, but she looks like a succubus kind of thing. We see King Lycan. He does greet Ogre, and we do find out they are brother / sister, because Ogre actually is both boy and girl. And there are moments during the book where he jumps, like I think right there, where he is a girl, and then all of a sudden he is a guy. And it's just, I think it's just the way his body changes. His conversation or whatever doesn't change when his body changes. But we do find out that they're brother and sister, and they're working for Invictus, and basically they have other plans. And at the moment, they're gonna, you know, they're stopping the whole thing. They need to explain some things to Jess. And basically what goes on here is Aisha basically goes to Jess, and she's like, hey, you think you're hunting these demons down to keep your soul, but there's something else going on. That guy that was able to, you know, break into the city and blow everybody up, do you think that's what happened? And her and Ren are like, yeah, that's what happened. And she's like, it's a $1 trillion building with trillions of dollars of security. How is that possible? And she's like, no, well, let me tell you this. She was all like, the person that sent him, and she kind of points to the cross right here. But she states that there is a lot more of that one guy with the bomb on the way to try and take out this city. And basically Aisha states like a pact or a team up, and stating that they need to take out these bombers before she worries about the soul kind of thing. That's kind of why they show this picture at the bottom with the split faces, because Aisha asked her, well, first Jennifer asked what she get out of it for helping them, and Aisha answers with another question. She's basically asking, Jennifer, what would she be getting out of it if she helped? And the last thing she says to her is, or do you believe that you're human, kind of thing. They do show a scene of the group kind of walking away. There is a scene with, and this is kind of where the plot point from Pinocchio rings true, but, Jess kind of tells Ren that she is going to accept the team up, and Ren kind of just states, yeah, you got to do whatever you got to do, but, kind of, I might not, maybe this isn't the best thing to do, kind of thing. And it does feel like that scene with Pinocchio and not Geppetto, Jiminy Cricket, and he was like, look, you doing bad stuff, I mean, you got to do you, but, you should be doing this. The very last thing they do show here is, earlier, this is what they showed the dad looking at, was the family, him reminiscing of his daughter and stuff like that. There was a motion thing that came on earlier, and it kept flashing no. At this point, it has come on, and they do show it's the guy that he's been working for, but it's somebody that they've mentioned in the background, but he's kind of the leader of this like whole city, and you get like a little kind of you don't really get a good image, but I think his name is Juan Candide, CEO of Humors, and the Humors is, I think, they control the whole city and wall and everything. I don't know. But that is where this issue leaves off. There is a cover preview to the next issue, which looks fantastic. But that's it. The video is going along, the reviews, but I mean, what a great issue. I mean, man, I'm loving the art, the Zulema's penciling, the inks, the colors. The colors are amazing. I don't know what else to say. If you're not reading this book, you're missing out. That's all I gotta say. Hexware has been fantastic, and it's only getting better. I can't wait for the next issue. Every issue has been like that. It leaves you off with a great cliffhanger. Hey, but that's what I got for all of y'all. I want to wish, everybody that wished me a happy birthday, a huge thank you. My birthday was Saturday, and this was the book of choice that I got to read, this one and one other, but I definitely had a better birthday because of this book right here, I'll tell you that. Alright guys, that's all I got for you. I got more reviews coming. I will see y'all later. Bye!